Hello everyone and welcome. Make a cup of your favorite drink and get comfortable because this is a wonderful time for news stories from Yellowcat. Send your own stories in the comments below and maybe they'll be in our new video. Employers of Reddit, what is the most ridiculous excuse you've heard from someone calling in sick? We had a sick phone at my office, basically a mobile/cell phone number you'd call. If no one answered, you leave a voicemail. So this voicemail gets left at about 2:30 a.m. on Saturday morning. Shift starts at 7 a.m. on Saturdays. Club music pumping in background. Yelling into phone. Hey, I won't be in tomorrow. I'm not feeling too good. I think I'm coming down with a headache or something. Been sick all night. I'll see you all on Monday. I used to be a waiter at a chain restaurant. I'd met a girl from the city a week back, and she decided to visit me in the suburbs, which definitely meant staying the night. A few hours before she made it out, I was playing D&D with some friends when I got a call from my manager asking me to come in. My group was about to face off against a red dragon, so it was a pretty intense moment, insofar as D&D gets. Manager calls me, tells me I need to come in for the day and do a night shift. I muse the thought for a moment and tell her that I have to slay a dragon and then go on a date tonight, so she'll have to find someone else to fill in for me. I lost my job, rolled a confirmed 20 critical, then got laid that night. Best day ever. Edit. I appreciate the advice from everyone, but I've since decided part-time work was BS and went back to college. Also, that particular chain is since shut down, probably due to health violations and horrible business practices. $400 a day. I repeat, $400 a day. To drive a bobcat, the machine, not a cool animal, down, then back up a mine shaft all day while listening to whatever music you want. What does this lazy effort do? I swear to God, he called in and said, I cut my fingernails too short yesterday, my hands hurt, I can't work today. Instantly fired. 21 years ago, I worked in a New York City office with a young woman who chronically called in late or sick with excuses like my roommate turned off my alarm clock, etc. One morning, she called in and said that she couldn't come to work because a plane had crashed into the World Trade Center. We all enjoyed a laugh about how she finally came up with something more inventive than her usual alarm clock shenanigans. A few minutes later... S. I have flu-like symptoms. One woman used this line every 2 weeks to get a day off. Next day, magically healed. This is in a restaurant, so we don't really have sick days, but we won't let anybody work if they have any flu symptoms or could be contagious in any way. Obviously, this woman read the manual because she said it the exact same way every time. Even better, one of her friends was a nurse practitioner who would sign a slip every time for her. I asked her how she was always able to see the exact same person when she went to get checked out. She said that it was just a coincidence. She got herself fired after too long. If you can't go 2 weeks without having to call out of a job you work for 25 hours a week, you have other issues too. I just hated the smug way she would say it, knowing I wouldn't let her come in with those symptoms and her fake doctor's note. When I was the opening manager at a pizza place, I had a driver named Granada who worked the coveted full-time opening shift. We were low volume, so only one driver got it. Anyway, Nada, as she referred to herself, was a terrible employee, and I have no idea why the GM gave her the position. One morning, Nada didn't show up on time. This was fairly common as there were no orders to be delivered yet. I didn't care all that much. After an hour though, I had some orders to be delivered and she still hadn't shown up. So I call her. You coming into work today? I can't come in cause my hair real rough. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. I can't come in cause my hair real rough. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Granada couldn't come into work because she was having a bad hair day. I fired her immediately and gave the coveted opening job to a hilarious man in his 50s who talked constantly about all the coke he did in the 80s. When I was working as a waiter, I was woken up one morning by my boss on Mother's Day. He was yelling at me that I was late and had to come in right away. He didn't believe me when I said that I was on the schedule for the evening shift. So, reluctantly, I got ready, headed into work, and was able to prove that I wasn't on the schedule until the afternoon. Undeterred, he said that I could still work that shift or stick around and work the morning shift. I declined, went home, and went back to sleep. Long story short, boss lied to me about where I was on the schedule to save his A because he was overrun. So, you see, ridiculous excuses work both ways. I used to work at Staples. It was pretty public knowledge that I was bad at selling service plans. I felt really guilty about selling people crap they didn't need. So they kept on switching my shifts around without telling me until they fired me for reliability issues. Scummy employers are scummy. Managers hated me because I would call them out on their S. We would get in huge arguments and they would never come around Geek Squad for weeks after that because they knew we were right. We weren't just some punks, we read the operating procedures and read them again. They would try writing you up for non-existent rules, I would argue. When they had me sign the paper, I would put my reason I was written up for breaking John's personal rule number 7, whichever one it is this week. After a few days, I would request a copy of my employee file through HR, going over their heads, and they would have to give me a copy. None of those write-ups were ever in there. They were blowing smoke. Managers would lie to customers' faces. Manager wiped a customer's drive once to reinstall OS. Customer came in while it was installing with an external drive to back up data too. The error was the manager's, but he lied and said nothing was recoverable, so they started the install. It was just a simple virus, but it was so infected, it wasn't worth the time and effort. I felt so bad. Another manager stole a customer's iPhone. Another employee was packing it to ship out and got distracted by a customer. Came back, phone gone. Started searching everywhere for it, no dice. Went to general manager, told him what happened, he started checking tapes. While checking tapes, the first manager comes back there and we ask if he saw the phone. He pauses, pulls an iPhone from one pocket, then another iPhone from another pocket. Lied through his teeth to get out of it. Nothing ever happened. F that guy. I reported him to HR, our internal security, etc. That was a major data breach and blatant theft. This is one of the guys that would write you up for not writing down there were minor scratches on the top bezel of a laptop, but would pocket a customer's iPhone. So many horrible stories about schedule changes after the fact just to have a reason to fire you also. F retail managers. I was a supervisor at one of my old jobs and had an hourly employee come in very upset. She stated that she was not going to be able to work because she had just came back from the vet and received a huge bill from him to treat her cat. She wasn't upset about the cat, she was upset by the bill and how she didn't have the money to pay for it. So she said she was too upset to work that day. I thought it was ironic considering she was not only out of the money for the vet, but also she was going to lose the money from not working her normal shift. Actually, the people at my office are real masters at this. One girl who is extremely social on Facebook and adds everyone in the office left work early because she was sick and then posted status updates all afternoon/night about the party she was at. I had a talk with her privately about this, just warning her of the stupidity of such actions. Being a manager, it is my responsibility to pull her into line for those sort of things if she reported to me. Basically, I told her, if you're going to do that sort of thing, do it. But don't effing post about it on Facebook. That's stupid. Effing stupid. She said she understood, but she did it several more times and ended up getting in a lot of trouble over it. Oh, and one more. One of my employees was actually at work and had a conversation with me like this. Lazy guy. Alryukin, I want to go home sick. Me. Okay, what's wrong with you? Lazy guy. Nothing really. I'm just kind of tired. Me. Okay, well, we don't have any type of leave to accommodate for being tired, so if you're not sick, then you can't use sick leave to go home, so back to work, buddy. Lazy guy. Okay, well, I am sick. Me. That's not good. What's wrong with you? Lazy guy. I'm sick and tired of work today. Me. Are you an idiot? And then I walk off trying not to burst out laughing. My former boss was awesome. We had a mandatory Saturday coming up, and I had planned a camping trip a few weeks earlier with some buddies. I told her about it, and she said everyone was supposed to be there, but if I called in sick for any reason, there was nothing she could do and there wouldn't be any problem. I called in while up in the mountains from a high peak that had minimal reception and told her I couldn't make it in. No other reason. She said, "Have fun camping." This is all from the same person. Not all of these are sick excuses. 1. I think my retina's detached. I'm driving to the ophthalmologist now. 2. My power was out. I slept in late, took a shower, girlfriend took bath mat to wash it. When I got out, I slipped and fell and threw my back out. 3. My girlfriend stepped on a rake and I have to take her to the hospital. 4. The city tore up my street and there is a ditch outside of my driveway and I can't get out and my power is out. 5. My girlfriend crashed her truck into mine. 6. My rims started peeling and cut my tires. 7. Left dome light on in my expensive car and it drained the battery. But most other cars turn the light off after 10 minutes to prevent that happening. 8. Couldn't sleep, so took a sleeping pill at 4 a.m. and now can't wake up. 9. City plowed him in. 10. Girlfriend's Jeep won't start and it's behind his car. 11. Can't drive to work cause it's raining and his window is off track so he can't roll it up. This was in his Blazer. Also, miscellaneous migraines where he couldn't open his eyes and had girlfriend write email but say it was him. He was the sysadmin and this was with a domain admin account. When I waited tables to get a sick day, you had to have a doctor's note the next time you came in. There was this concert that I really wanted to go to that I found out about less than 2 weeks before the date. Therefore, I had to call out to go to it. I found some pack of word templates that had headings that looked like they were from different doctor's offices with canned messages like blank has been recommended to not come into work due to blank. He should return on blank. So I looked up an urgent care facility nearby, edited the heading to be the name and address of it, and had a friend fill out the form and sign it for me. I took the day off and turned it in on my next shift. It went off without a hitch. I told only a couple people I worked with what I did. One of the guys I did tried the exact same thing as me, but he told pretty much everyone what he did. He was fired pretty quickly. Since I kept my mouth shut about it, I lasted 2 more months before I got a real job and quit. When I was 18, I worked at Pizza Hut as a driver. One of the cashiers calls in while I am near the phone, so I get to overhear one side of the odd conversation. Afterwards, I just have to ask the boss to fill me in. This girl called to say she was at the beach and her truck wouldn't start. The boss asks her if she needed one of the drivers to come pick her up. She says no. He says, "Well, how will you get home?" She says, "I will drive my truck home." Of course, he says, "But then why can't you come into work?" And she says, "Because my truck won't start." This goes around about 3 times before the boss just says, "Okay then," and hangs up. And don't be so quick to say that she was hired drunk. This girl was so amazingly stupid that she once wore slippers to work because the box said slipper shoes. So they're shoes, right? And she could use a rocker blade and end up with an odd number of slices. One day she backed straight up out of a parking space at like 20 miles per hour and slammed into the boss's car, then said she didn't know where that car came from. She was pretty amazing. Thank you for watching. Guys, thank you for all the support and likes. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet. See you next time.